So guys, this is what I've been thinking about. The Suicide Squad Isekai show, it comes out in 2024, which is going to contain DC comics characters and put them in an anime, which is part of the genre of Isekai, where they get transported into another world. I have the plot synopsis from the official website that I'm going to quickly go through. So basically, Amanda Waller assembles a team of notorious criminals known as Harley Quinn, Deadshot, Peacemaker, Clayface, King Shark, sent through to another world through a connection called the Gate. The world is filled with magic and orcs and stuff, so fantasy world. And Harley Quinn goes on a rampage after arriving in the Isekai world, but is captured by the Kingdom, sent to prison, where they only have 72 hours before the bombs on the neck explode. With the deadline approaching, they negotiate with the Queen to be set free if they stop a hostile Imperial army from invading. So, and they have to do it fast because they're on a deadline. That is the vague plot of the Suicide Squad Isekai. And to that I say, I find it a bit sad that they're going for a more overarching plot rather than going episodic, if that makes sense. I wouldn't mind a few episodes where when they get dumped into the new world, they have to explore it and like go on like little adventures, rather than the whole like we need to stop the invading force from the kingdom boring fantasy genre thing. But you know, it seems to be an isekai. What are you gonna do? I have a few other strifes I'd like to go through, but overall, before I get started with any criticism, I'd like to say I'm very excited about this project, and I like the idea of taking DC Comics characters into other places like anime or different genres or just other things and other shows that can just explore different parts of the characters. I think it's very interesting, especially with the Suicide Squad. One of my first issues. Why does the Joker seem so prevalent in it? I don't mind his design. I know a lot of people have been complaining about that, but I think it's whatever. It's fine. I also think it's very interesting, the anime design of Fuckboy Joker. But whatever. Fuckboy Joker, why is he even included? Because in this plot synopsis, he doesn't seem to be part of the Suicide Squad, so he's probably just part of Harley Quinn's backstory, I assume, in the first episode, as Harley Quinn does seem to be the main character, as the synopsis even says, can Harley Quinn and the Suicide Squad survive in the Isekai? Which is a bit odd for a show about a team, the Suicide Squad. But whatever. Honestly, just a bit over the Joker. He has two live action movies, one coming out, one come out. He's basically in every movie. They even put him in the Batman show. They've also thrown him into the Suicide Squad game, even though the Joker in that universe was dead, and they brought in an alternate universe as one, just to stick him in there, because he's so popular. But I guess if he gets more eyes on the show, they sort of had to. And that's probably why they've gone with more popular characters, with Peacemaker with the TV show, Deadshot in a bunch of other things, Clayface, King Shark, and Harley Quinn. But that is what I want to talk about next. Next of all, why have they chosen these characters? I do think all of them are interesting and have their own like thing, but overall, out of the character list here on their official website, there are 12 characters on this character list, and out of the 12 of them, 3 of them are from the fantasy world, so we don't know much about them. I don't know if they have powers or like they use magic, but one just seems to be a knight, one's the princess, one's the queen. And then with our 9 like DC Comics characters, not original characters. We have Harley Quinn, person who uses a bat or a hammer or a gun. Joker, person who uses gas or a gun. Deadshot, guy who uses guns. Peacemaker, who uses various weapons and guns. Rick Flagman, who uses guns. Katana, who uses a sword. And Amanda Waller, who uses a brain and, would you guess, a gun. And then out of these 9, only 2 of them actually have any real superpowers, like that make them super, like extraordinary, which is Clayface and King Shark, which I think are very good additions. But I'm just wondering why they haven't chosen to use more interesting or not even powerful, more just like enhanced Suicide Squad members. And as you can see on the wiki, the list of even team members, current members, former members, and killed in action members is huge. Very long list. And from all of this, I would have preferred them to use more interesting characters, rather than just using the, I don't know, most generic couple, especially even the most popular ones. Like Peacemaker already has his own rendition from the new TV show, as well as the second Suicide Squad movie. Like, there are a lot of interesting characters I think they could have used, and I'm gonna list off some of my personal choices who I think they could have gone with instead. If you're still looking for characters without superpowers, maybe because the world would be too easy for Superman. He would just demolish everyone in the fantasy world. You could use characters like Black Manta, as I think he sets himself apart from them, being in the suit of armor and the lasers, and also he could be more aquatic themed, if that makes sense, because he likes underwater. and uses weapons like tridents and stuff. Just very interesting all around. Even characters like Captain Boomerang, who of course I have favoritism for as an Australian myself. I think he's quite interesting and so forth. But like he uses different types of boomerangs, explosives. A lot of times he has teleport boomerangs. Things that are very interesting. Or we could use a current member like Black Alice, who is able to steal magic. And if the fantasy world has magic, which I assume it does since it has orcs and dragons, that Black Alice would be able to steal their magic and use their different forms of magic. Like you meet someone who uses necromancy, someone who uses fire magic, somebody who uses lightning magic. You could do anything. Another current member they could bring in is Bizarro, like a really dumb Superman, the dumb Superman clone. I think he would be very interesting, and also is a current member, but he could be a bit too strong. Another person who could be a bit too strong is Lobo, who's also a member of the Suicide Squad a fair bit of the time. Not a fair bit, sometimes. And yeah, I think it would be interesting, especially since Amanda Waller would probably have a more difficult time controlling him. And you could also throw in some of the lesser known members of the Suicide Squad. Maybe one of the ones that normally get killed in action. Like, for an example, Exit. His powers involve short range teleportation, not very strong. He's just interesting. He was even killed in his first comic appearance. But with the Suicide Squad, the good news is there's so many of them, you can just choose any of them. Swap them in and out. Have some more interesting ones, have some more underground ones, give them really compelling character motivations and so forth. Especially if the show is episodic, you could, use more of that to your advantage, where you have an episode exploring the characters' motivations, how they ended up in crime, in the fantasy setting, while having to help out villagers or exploring caves or whatever. I don't know. It's very interesting putting the DC characters. Also, my two personal favorites that I think probably should have been added is El Diablo, as he shoots fire, controls fire, can transform into like a fire demon. Just, I think he's overall very interesting character, as well as he might be more well known as he was in the original Suicide Squad, the bad one. But also, when he's in the world, people could think he's a fire mage and try and ask him about it. But overall, he's just some dude who can shoot fire, not specifically like a mage or anything. And I think that would be interesting in the show, like to explore and deal with. And lastly, my last member that I would have liked to see more of is Killer Croc. Also a member of the original Suicide Squad, and also very interesting. But again, if you have Killer Croc, you can't really have King Shark, so you'd have to choose. But I personally would have went with Killer Croc, because Killer Croc is a lot of the times a misunderstood man with a disability that makes him have the traits of a crocodile. And because of that, he's always been treated as a monster for most of his life, and he's become very cynical and dangerous, making him the enemy of Batman. But he's also like meant to be kinder when given the opportunity. He's meant to be nicer. He used to be a police officer. He just like given the opportunity, he will be nicer, he'll be better, he'll be a better person. And I think it'd be very interesting to put him on the Suicide Squad rather than more of a comic relief character like King Shark, as they could have a scene where they meet orcs that look like Killer Croc, or even lizard people like from Overlord, and then he could feel accepted by them because they don't see him as scary or dangerous, but rather just one of them. So he could want to leave the Suicide Squad and join the orcs or the lizard people as he fits in there, and that would be his motivation. Like he makes a deal with Amanda Waller that after this happens, they take the bomb out and he gets left in the other world to be like live a normal life with the orcs, I think it'd be very interesting for King Croc to go through that development. And again, it would have to be more of an episodic than an overarching arc, because you'd need an episode to focus on them meeting the lizard people and then them thinking that Croc is one of them or something like that. But yeah, I'm sure you could pull it off. And that's my overall looking thoughts. But yeah, basically just, I think normal people with guns going into a fantasy world has been done before, so I think it'd be more interesting if like superheroes or villains in this case went into another world, so you give them more superpowers rather than specifically people with guns. Because like with animes like The Gate is an anime I've heard of that is a lot of military people with guns have gone in, and like Peacemaker, Rick Flag, Katana, Harley Quinn, Joker, and Deadshot are all just people with guns, Amanda Waller. And I think it's not as interesting as having superpowered humans or people go in and do it. But yeah, overall, I am excited to see how the show plays out. I'm still going to watch it, obviously. I think it's going to be very interesting, especially characters like Clayface and King Shark, and Harley Quinn being the main character. I think it's interesting. But yeah, I think they could have chosen more interesting characters like Croc or El Diablo or Exit or just any random person with a more interesting superpower, in my opinion. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Also, Cecil, this dude, the night guy, craziest count I've ever seen. This man is dedicated to the field. What the fuck? First of all, the pink hair, but second of all, doof. Like, bro, go bald at this point. I assume it has something to do with the helmet or the armor, but now I'm just thinking he might just like it.